Hi, I'm Nancy Blotner. At Caldwell University, we believe that all citizens should be informed about the important issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Bank of America. Life's better when we're connected. Caldwell University. Suez. Ready for the resource revolution. MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey. New Jersey Sharing Network, dedicated to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. Adler Aphasia Center, helping stroke and brain injury survivors recover their speech. And by Verizon. Promotional support provided by NJ.com. Small news, big news, true Jersey. And by NJ Biz. All business, all New Jersey.
This is One-on-One. I'm an equal American just like you are.
The jobs of tomorrow are not the jobs of yesterday.
Look at this. You got this?
Here it is, man. Look at that.
Life without dance is boring.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
Do you enjoy talking politics?
No. People call me because they feel nobody's paying attention.
Our culture, I don't think, has ever been tested the way it's being tested right now.
That's a good question. High five.
Hi, I'm Steve Adubato. We are at the beautiful Pleasantdale Chateau in West Orange, New Jersey. You can hear the music behind me. You see people filing in. Now, what is this event? This is the Pink Tie Affair. This is the Susan G. Komen North Jersey event. They raise money every year for breast cancer awareness, for research, for public education. Inspire hope, celebrate life, be a part of the cure. That's what they say. So tonight, here's what we did. We talked to breast cancer survivors. We talked to women. We talked to men. They have these guys going around in pink ties. They started an organization of men who are co-survivors, supporting these women, raising money, raising awareness. Extraordinary guys. We talked to the guy who is the honoree this year, who's a breast cancer survivor. Some guys think it's impossible. They could never get breast cancer. Well, he did, and he wants to make people aware of it. And when you meet Mark, you'll hear his powerful story. We talk to researchers and scientists and doctors. We talk to people from Komen. We talk to people from the medical community. A powerful story, a great night. This is a half hour of television about breast cancer awareness for men and women, women and men, that you can't afford to miss. We're here at the Pink Tie Affair, the Susan G. Komen North Jersey event. We're here with the executive director, Kelly Witkowski. Kelly, big night. We're in the ballroom, and this place will be packed, and people will be dancing and partying and raising a lot of money in just a few minutes. Talk to us, and you came on board not too long ago, right?
Yes, I joined the organization this past October. Thrilled to be here and had the opportunity to meet some incredibly passionate individuals, and this night would not be possible without them.
For those who don't know what Susan G. Komen in North Jersey is all about, describe it.
So just like the Susan G. Komen Foundation, our affiliate was founded on a promise to a little girl who had lost her mother to breast cancer. And for almost nearly 2 decades, we have worked in the community to help the uninsured or underinsured, to connect people to resources, whether they're patient navigators, helping them through the journey of breast cancer, whether it's helping individuals who can't afford to pay rent and their treatments as well. It's just an ear to listen to those who have questions or feel overwhelmed or alone. And so we do so much work in the community to support people. And of course, the money that we raise also goes to fund life-saving research.
Let's talk a little bit, by the way, you can tell the band's getting ready, as I was talking about dancing and partying tonight. I happen to know that your organization is very committed to helping those in the inner cities. Those who have a hard time getting access to the information, to the care, to the screenings they need. Talk about that, particularly in cities like Newark.
Absolutely. So we recently concluded a community profile that looked at the greatest needs in our 9-county affiliate. And everyone we spoke to, from physicians, clinicians, people out there in the community, they all said that education was the most important thing that we could provide. And over the last 9 months...
What kind of education?
Education about breast health awareness, about breast cancer, about resources that are available. You'll hear tonight from our Journey of Courage that women are not the only ones who get breast cancer, and that's an important message to get out. And we're doing that in the communities. We've hosted a number of educational events. Some have been bilingual to be able to speak to the community. They're free events, and we let people know what resources are available, where our money is going and what those resources are, as well as the community partners that we work with and how they're available as well.
Real quick, talk to folks about the race for the cure. Big deal.
Absolutely. It's one of our largest awareness and fundraising events. It's going to be May 1st right here in West Orange. We're expecting about 4,000 participants. And as 25% of the money that we raise is going to our national research projects. And the other portion will be staying here to help people right in our community. So we hope that everyone comes out to join us. We have a phenomenal survivor celebration where we honor our survivors and celebrate their fight.
Let me ask you this in the time we have left, because you're getting ready to greet more people and get people in the right frame of mind to raise the money to do what has to be done tonight. But I want to ask you this. People often say, you know what, there's been so much information out there about breast cancer awareness. Come on, everybody knows. Not true.
No, it's not true, and there's been a lot of information about breast health screening as well. That's provided a lot of confusion.
I was just going to say confusion.
Absolutely, and so our message is so important that men and women need to be speaking to their doctor, because my symptoms and my risks could be a lot different from the next woman standing next to me, and so it's important to know your risks, and it's important to know what your options are, and that's a message that Komen wants to get out. It's on our website. We're talking to people in the community. Events like this are helping to spread that message.
Thanks so much. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of corporate support tonight, or it would not be successful at this pink tie affair. And one of the corporate supporters is right here. Karen, we actually had a conversation recently about this event. We started talking about this organization, the North Jersey operation. You're connected to the board. You've been part of it, corporate support for it. Why so committed and involved?
You know, this is an amazing charity, and the work that it does and the lives that it impacts and saves is just amazing. Between the money that's raised and dedicated to research and how that saves lives, and also the money that stays right in our local community and how it educates women, raises awareness about breast cancer, but also when that time comes that they get that word that they've been diagnosed, the support and the grants that we provide to provide women and men with support is just amazing and really makes a difference.
For those who don't understand it, first time that term is being used, pink tie guy is?
A pink tie guy is a guy who energizes and motivates and raises awareness for our cause.
Where'd that idea come from?
They are our champions. It was created right here in the affiliate. We know that in order to get the word out, we have to have champions who are going to rally around our cause and get the word out. And it's important that we have men at that level in their organizations and in their communities who are ready to speak up and talk on our behalf, and that's what the pink tie guys are doing. So,
you know, the whole thing, like, you know, the perception on the part of some, the misconception on the part of some, breast cancer, oh, that's a woman's issue, that's a woman's disease.
Not just women, unfortunately. I think the number's 1 in 1,000 men can get diagnosed.
Including one of our honorees tonight, our honoree.
Yes, our honoree tonight, Mark Featherwhite, is being recognized as a survivor, and he's allowing us to unveil his journey this evening and tell his story and share his story with everyone here, and it's very moving.
Why is that so important?
Well, I think what's really interesting about this event this year, it's really about the men, isn't it?
About the men.
It's about the men. We have a male honoree in the journey. We have our pink tie guys that we're unveiling. So we're really trying to raise awareness that not only can men be affected with breast cancer, but we also need the men in our community to rally around the cause.
Last question. ShopRite, Partners in Caring. We've talked about this before offline as well. lots of involvement and support lots of organizations that we happen to be supportive of as well and work with, Community Food Bank of New Jersey, et cetera, et cetera. How tough is it when you have to make a call, a decision about who you're going to support, and why does an organization like this stand out?
So one of our objectives is really to impact our local community.
But is it healthcare?
Well, we focus primarily on fighting hunger, but when you think about who we serve, our customers are primarily women, although more and more men are sharing in the grocery shopping. But, when you think about the fact that so many in the state of New Jersey, and we have one of the highest mortality rates for breast cancer, it's really important that someone like ShopRite get behind it. And we've been committed for years. And unfortunately, we've had so many people in our own ShopRite family and our own Wakefern family who have been impacted by breast cancer. So it's really close to home for us.
Personal.
Yeah, it's very personal.
We are pleased to be joined by Mark Futterwhite, who is the 2016 Komen Journey of Courage recipient, and also joined by your wife, Jill. I want to thank you for joining us. Talk to us, Mark. You are someone who, those of us who sometimes think, hey, this isn't something, breast cancer awareness doesn't affect men. Not true. Bring us up to date. Make sure we understand.
Absolutely, it's not true. Men have breasts, and when we were younger, you want to build your pecs because you want to show off for the young ladies and so forth. But men do have breasts, and they have to realize that men can get breast cancer as well.
In your situation?
My situation was, I'm pretty active and so forth, and my story is that I came home after exercising, whether it was basketball or something, and I turned on the shower and I was lifting up my shirt, and my left hand rubbed up against my left breast, and I felt something wet, and I said, what's wet? And I looked in the mirror and I squoze, and some dark liquid came out of what used to be my left nipple. It's not there anymore. I asked Jill, what do you think? And she said, you better not do what you normally do, think it's nothing. So I went to the hospital. I did a culture. They said it's staph infection. Just go and take an antibiotic for 10 days and it should go away. It didn't. So then I went back to my doctor who wasn't available at the time. He said, he did a culture. He said, yes, it's staph, but I want you to go have a mammogram. I said, what do you mean a mammogram? I don't have breast cancer. He goes, yeah, you do. So they had me go for a mammogram, and they said that I had clogged mammary ducts, and not only do I have breasts, but I have mammary ducts, and one's clogged. So I said, what do I do? So they suggested that I go see a doctor. His name is Joseph Garcia in Wayne. And I went to see him, and he said, yeah, you have a clogged mammary duct. I said, well, what do we do? He said, well, we make an incision underneath the nipple, and we take out the duct. I thought it was that simple, so we scheduled the appointment, had the surgery, and stupidly, I went back to see him by myself for the results, without Jill. And I got there, and he said, well, we did a biopsy. I said, what biopsy? Well, we biopsy everything. I said, okay. He said, well, there was a carcinoma. And he saw the look on my face. With that, he gets up, he grabs my face, and he says, you're going to be fine. I said, okay. So, all right, so go on. It's called a carcinoma in situ. It's encapsulated. So it didn't come from anywhere. It didn't go anywhere. It couldn't go anywhere. I said, what do we do? He said, we take out the nipple and the breast material and go forward from there. I asked for, what about a second opinion? He said, go get a second opinion. Told me to go to Sloan Kettering. I never scheduled it. I hadn't scheduled yet. I came home. Jill said, so what did the doctor say? He said it was going to be fine. So they did not know for 2 months.
This was 8 years ago.
Yes. I had surgery 8 years ago.
I have to ask you, what was going on for you during this time?
Absolute shock. My reaction, we were at the kitchen table, our girls were sitting there, and I said to Mark, you have a phone call on the answering machine, a message from Doctor's office giving you a second opinion. I said, what second opinion? So he got up from the table, walked over, picked up an envelope, sat down, and he looked right at us and he said, I have breast cancer. I said, what? He said, I have breast cancer. I said, what do you mean you have breast cancer? Men don't get breast cancer. I said, women get breast cancer. He said, I have breast cancer. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. I said, how long have you known? He said, over 2 months.
He kept it to himself?
2 months? Are you kidding? What were you thinking? How could you, 2 months? You've been walking around with breast cancer for 2 months? So I said, what do we need to do? Not you, what do we need?
As a family.
As a family. He said, I need to get a second opinion at Sloan Kettering. I said, when? He said, I don't have time to make the appointment. I said, wait a minute. What do you mean you don't have time to make the appointment? I said, what do you need to do? He told me what he needed to do. I said, I'll do it.
You took control?
I'll get the films. I'll get the...
You were the quarterback.
You got it.
So let me ask you this, because first of all, I can't even comprehend what you were going through, and guys watching right now can't, and women. But I want to ask you, what is the message you want to share with everyone watching right now? Men, women, what's the message?
As the woman, be supportive. Be really supportive. I know that all women, boyfriends or husbands or whatever, spouses, you're there. You've got to be there for them. It's such a shock to a man to find out that he has breast cancer. Not anything else that's common to a male, but breast cancer. Do what you have to do to be there for them. Get them to talk about it. If it's not to you, to somebody. Because the more you talk about it, the more you can deal with it. It is really a head game to find out as a male that you have breast cancer.
And your message to everyone, particularly the guys watching right now, all of us.
It's awareness. Just be aware of what's going on in your body. I mean, my hope is that eventually one day, when you go for your annual physical, not only prostate and so forth, that a breast exam will be part of the exam. Because unfortunately, as the statistics show, over 2,000 men will be diagnosed this year and over 400 will die. That's over 20%. That's unheard of. Then it shouldn't happen.
You should never take it for granted.
Absolutely not. Just be aware of your bodies and very aware of what's going on in your bodies and go do something and say something.
This is Joan Sheridan, who is breast cancer survivor and also the Komen Journey of Courage honoree, and that guy next to you is Joe Sheridan. Pink tie guy, Susan G. Komen, North Jersey, and also president and COO Wakefern. Joan, talk to us about this organization, first of all, the North Jersey affiliate, and what it means.
Well, it was Susan Komen who actually sent me to my surgeon, Dr. Elise Santoro, and really put me in touch with the right person for my treatment.
Dr. Santoro is an awesome breast cancer surgeon.
Yes, she was. She was fantastic. She really put our mind at ease, and she really helped us make our way through this, torturous journey in a way that it was at that point in time.
And Joe and Joan talks about your words, a torturous journey, and the term co-survivor is being used here, and you are part of the pink tie guys. This is the inaugural class, if you will, of the pink tie guys, and for those who don't know, and I'm imagining we're using that term on public television files for the first time, pink tie guys, what does that mean?
It's about the commitment. It's about the journey. When Joan's talking about Dr. Santoro, there's a sign in her office that said the only thing worse than being told you have cancer is being told a second time. So we went in, when we came out of Dr. Santoro's office, we were going to play to win. And that whole journey from that point on was playing to win. Komen facilitated it, but you keep giving back on the journey, and you have other discussions, and it's a pretty good scene.
And the pink tie guys, what do you do?
We're handsome. We're eye candy.
Okay, look at that, Joe. And you raise money, and you raise awareness, and you're not humble.
No, you know what it is? There's a lot of relationships that occur. You have the doctors, you have your family, you have your spouse, you have other spouses who go through it. So you talk to them and you engage with them. You let them know they're not alone. And then you raise money for the cause, because the goal is to win. I mean, the goal is always to win, and when you play to win, it gets you pretty psyched up.
Joan, talk about the importance of family, the importance of support, and the importance of Joe.
Oh, yeah. With that, it would never have been as easy as it was. I won't say it's easy, but I'm saying it would never have been the way it was without Joe. Joe was great. He was there with me for the testing. He was there when I came home. It's much, much harder if you don't have that significant other to help you along.
So pink tie guys are important.
Very important, because the pink tie guys really matter.
So let's talk a little bit, by the way, here at this very special event, a lot of money is raised. Your organization is very supportive, the Wakefern folks, ShopRite. But that money's for research. It's for public awareness. Early detection, talk about it.
Well, I was early detection. It was through a mammogram it was got. I was very lucky. It was what they call DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, which means the cancer was contained within the milk ducts. But if you don't go for a mammogram, you may not catch that until it has already spread. So very important to go for a mammogram every year.
I mean, the honoree this year is someone, a gentleman who dealing with breast cancer, and people often say, well, that's not something that guys should be concerned about or aware of. Not true, Joe Sheridan.
Not true. It's very real. I think we have to pay attention to it, and we have to go after it. I mean, the goal of Komen is to eliminate cancer, and anything we can do to help it, that's what it's all about. Whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, it's a challenge and a journey for both.
Dr. Martin, thank you for joining us tonight. Talk to us about your research and why it's so significant.
So I work in an area called molecular imaging, which I suspect is not a household word for most of your viewers.
Not in New Jersey.
Not in New Jersey. Maybe. You never know. And it's a technique that allows us to see how tumors behave in the patient and what their molecules are composed of, what they're consuming, how they're living within the patient. And that allows us to detect them. It also allows us to choose treatments that are much more likely to eradicate those tumors. So it's a relatively new technique that's been allowed by some recent developments in technology and is an area that holds a great deal of promise for helping us to treat cancers better.
You know, for those who say things like, or ask, will we be able to, quote unquote, eradicate cancer in the next 10, 20 years? Is that the right question to be asking, Doctor?
I think that's part of the question to answer. I think what we're also doing is turning cancer from a lethal disease to a chronic disease in many patients.
To a chronic disease.
Yeah. So you may be able to eradicate most of the tumors, but if you can take the tumors that you can't get rid of and keep them from hurting the patient and allow women to live with cancer as a chronic disease, that's part of the way my particular specialty comes into play.
An organization like this, their efforts to raise money for research, talk about that.
Komen plays an absolutely essential role in breast cancer research. It is one of the organizations that's dedicated to breast cancer research and has been strategic in its approach to supporting advances in breast cancer since it was developed. In particular, one of their latest efforts is to support new investigators.
New investigators, research investigators?
Yeah, people who are just getting started in their research career. Right now, the NIH budget makes it very hard for people to get started.
So the National Institutes of Health does not make it easy.
No, the budget has been very tight, and I think were it not for organizations like Komen, we would have lost a generation of these researchers.
And what would be the impact of that?
Impact would be much less progress in breast cancer than we're able to make without their help.
We've talked about this with many people, but I want to get the doctor's perspective on this as well. Men and breast cancer and the misconceptions about it, as well as the research.
Yeah, so breast cancer is less common in men, but it's not unheard of in men. And in fact, in many ways, sometimes because men don't suspect it, it can be fairly aggressive and fairly difficult to treat. So almost all of the research that pertains to understanding the biology of breast cancer in women applies equally well to men, including many of the technologies that we've worked on.
So is early detection that much, I mean, it's always important, but is part of the problem that men don't detect it because they're not looking for it?
In certain ways, a man is much easier to detect breast cancer, but they don't know that they're looking for it. The ability to identify a lump in the breast in a man is probably easier in certain ways than in a woman.
But we're not looking.
That's the problem.
Should we be?
We should be aware, and we should be screening men for breast cancer the same as we do for women. We may not need imaging to do that, but men need to be aware that they can develop breast cancer.
And the medical community, to what degree do you feel, Doctor, the medical community is becoming more aware of that, engaged in that, and frankly bringing it up with men and not waiting for men to bring it up?
I think the medical community understands this is a disease of both sexes. But with common things being common, my guess is that most physicians still probably wouldn't suspect breast cancer in a man to the same extent that they would in a woman.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you.
We're here with Lou LaSalle, the Senior Vice President of External Affairs for Barnabas Health, one of the significant supporters of this event tonight, the Pink Tie event, Susan G. Komen, North Jersey. Lou, talk about this event, why it's significant.
Steve, the Susan G. Komen Foundation from the very beginning was one of those charities we wanted to help. When I got there in 1990, I remember later they began. Their first one was held in the Armory in West Orange. Huge success. There's got to be some way that we can do away with breast cancer. We've got to cure it. We've got to kill it. But Susan G. Komen does help us with navigators, with people.
Patient navigators.
Patient navigators to help people find where they should be going, things that they should be doing. Education helps, but the hands of those surgeons and those hands of those people that make it work. I get a chill when I see those survivors go up on the stand, and I'm a survivor for 15 years. I don't know what to do.
There's nothing like that.
Yeah. They're a great organization. We'll help and support them forever.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you, Steve.
We are here with Robert and Ashley Schultz, two of the pink tie guys. I tell you what, these pink tie guys, they're dynamic, they're charitable, they're obviously great looking, and they're committed to breast cancer awareness. Talk to us. How'd you get all hooked up in this?
Well, listen, I don't think anybody dodges this curveball that comes to each and every one of us. Whether it's family members, friends, we're all touched by this insidious disease. So we all have to pitch in, contribute, and simply find a cure.
Young guys in particular who convince themselves, hey, not me, breast cancer, couldn't touch me. It's just not true.
Right, right. Well, I think this whole thing is, it's not why would you get involved, it's really how can you not get involved with something like this.
Better way to put it.
Yeah, yeah. So we're just, we're happy to do what we can do, which, you know, it's a small part, but great event, great organization, and we're just happy to be here.
What's the message you want to send to all the guys out there watching right now?
I think really the message, actually we were having a drink in Moonshine in Millburn, actually, and I was just talking to why are you wearing a pink tie, and the guy to my left asked me, and I said, it's a cancer foundation. He said, oh my God, my mom and my wife went through this. There's no one that is not touched by this. So at this juncture, you know what? We all have to contribute in some way. It could be minute and it could be extensive. It really doesn't matter. It's all about contributing to get the cure.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Bank of America, Caldwell University, Suez, MD Advantage Insurance Company of New Jersey, New Jersey Sharing Network, Adler Aphasia Center, and by Verizon. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
Hi, I'm Peter Rooney. In 2006, I lost my father to renal disease. He was on the waiting list for a new kidney, but did not receive one in time. Unfortunately, so many like my father have lost their lives while waiting for a life-saving organ. At New Jersey Sharing Network, we're committed to saving and enhancing people's lives through organ and tissue donation and by informing people about this important decision. Because you can make a difference and save a life.